Super Soldier program.
So, welcome to the show, Suspected Detectives, with myself, Joanna. And today I am interviewing Christine about her super soldier experiences in the Astral. Take it away, Christine.
Yeah, so interesting times right now. I had a show yesterday, a radio show with Brian Barrett about the Djinn, and of course he calls these beings Djinn. I had the experience, Sarah, I think I can say, Sarah Rachel Adams performed some healing on me, a lot of it over a period of a month, using ET. And it was really quite remarkable. I actually saw these ET coming out in front of me and going through my body, bringing up memories. And I was curious then, obviously, about what they were, who they were, having seen them. They had like mother of pearl skin. They're multidimensional. It was interesting. So anyway, I was talking to Brian about it. He's a magician. He's, very experienced, been out to India, and he said that it was the Djinn. Mind you, Brian does tend to think everything's the Djinn.
Not half. God bless him. Or Jinn bless him.
But even if it is the Djinn, it's still interesting. I still want to discuss this with anyone who's open to discuss it with. Anyway, so that was yesterday. And then during yesterday, I became aware of, the Brian Harvey thing. He's upset with me that I didn't speak to Daniela back when I interviewed him. Fact was, I didn't know her back then. I just, tweeted her on Twitter and spoke to her recently. I can ask her recently. Actually, I did tweet her last week. She didn't reply. I mean, she's not a friend of mine, and I'm not hanging out her ass. Not a groupie, not a lesbian. That always comes up, doesn't it? That thing, But
yeah.
There we are. I think there's a bit of shit stirring going on there, maybe competing for Brian's attention, stuff like that, and I was getting his attention. And so perhaps it's that going on. Anyway, it did really trigger me, and it triggered me. I went and, I did a video about it, about, what had happened, and, saying my piece that went up, whatever, that was okay. And then the following day, for some reason, I felt aggrieved or triggered. I think I was just really, really triggered. And I thought at the time it was maybe like a false accusation of being a bitch. And, when I am a bitch, I like to own it because I think you can learn from it. And someone says, look, you did this, that was really wrong. And, I can say either, I don't think it's wrong. How do you think it's wrong? Can you explain it to me? And then if I was wrong, offer an apology, and how can I make this better? That's my way. But so I felt falsely accused because I thought I'd been a good friend to Brian. I thought, maybe I hadn't, I mean, who knows? And so I was walking in the park with my son and I was working out, and somebody told me that in a video Brian had said, oh, I'm going to come round your house. Now I've hunted for that and I can't find it, so it was probably a lie, but people do stir pots. So that was probably fake, but I got quite cross over that. And so I thought, well, I know I'll do a jokey video. I'll just work out like Miss Piggy, and we can have a fight, on the front lawn. I think I said that on the show as well. Let's roll around on the front lawn, because it just seemed like silly. But turns out he probably didn't say it anyway. It was this individual. Are you still with me there?
I am. I'm listening intensely.
Yeah. So anyway, while I was doing the workout, I said to my son, oh, film me because I'm so chubby, and just film me so I can play it back to myself and like, God's sake, woman, work out, and so I was filming it. I was saying, yeah, come on, Brian, let's, have a chin up, you and I, or something like that, something silly. and mad, but it was, a hot day. And I did feel triggered, and I didn't know what to do with that feeling. And I didn't even know what the feeling was. You know, when you're triggered, yet you can't get to it, and you feel a bit like a cat in or
I
rabbit in
think
head.
so. When you're
And
feeling really upset about something and it's hard
yeah,
to
and you
calm down.
yeah, and you can't cry about it because you don't really know what you're feeling, yet you're feeling something. And it really reminded me of the argument with Tara Joyce that time, where she said, "Oh, I left the show." But actually, it wasn't her fault. She filmed Miles Johnson on Kerry Cassidy's show, and Miles Johnson said, "Oh, Christine used to work for XMI6 agencies. Max Spears is dead, and she was the last person to speak to him. And it's a spooky thing, and she's an ex-spook. Not that I'm not actually a spook. I never worked directly for them. It was always through their commercial arm, and not spying on the real IRA, I have to add. And so." I felt offended at that, and I blamed Terry, but I shouldn't have done. Actually, I should have blamed Miles, but Miles is one of these people that you sort of always overlook things he's done. And I had that relationship with him at the time where he would do a lot of things that I would think was off, but I would still speak to him. I haven't spoke to him now for a year, maybe more, maybe 2 years. And so I realized that I felt in the same place as I did that time with Terry. And I had this sort of argument. I was very rude to her, and then she did something, a video, and then a few of the other truther girls joined in, which wasn't great for me. I started to get feelings of my mother, and her ganging up with me with her friends when I was like 5. And I started to get flashbacks of her beating me, and I was really in a bad way. I was really, really bad. And but the women in the truth movement took it lightly, and people kept, mostly it's from people that come and say, "Oh, such and such said this," and I wish they wouldn't do it because it doesn't really help. And there was a woman around me, and she kept sending me what people were saying about me, and "Oh, see them what they're saying about you here. Oh, see them what they're saying about you there," and it was really upsetting me a lot. And I thought, how can I stop this? But really, I should have just ignored it. But because she was sending me it, I couldn't ignore it, and I was triggered. And so I did the doll video, the infamous doll video. Do you remember that?
I certainly do.
And I had dolls because my son would take me to the toy shop. No, I would take him to the toy shop, get really bored, and go to the girls section. And of course, there's like amazing Barbie dolls there. And there's Barbie dolls like in like ball gowns. And sometimes they would sell like for £10 or so. So I would think, well, hang on, that doll was like £100. Now it's down to 10. I'm going to buy it because then I can resell it on eBay. And so I ended up with about 4 or 5 dolls. And I thought of this idea. I thought, I know what will smooth things over. I will like make a comedy sketch. So I got the dolls, and I made one of them Terry, one of them was Sarah, another one I think was Jolene, and I did a sketch of them all bickering and that. And one was me. I made the nice Alice in Wonderland one, me. And they were headbutting each other. Anyway, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lark, and I thought everyone would laugh. I would be reaccepted into the group, and things would be fine. Anyway, no, didn't work out that way. And people around me, Paul actually, and my son said, "You can't do that. No, that won't go down well." And I just thought, well, how can it not go down well? It's funny. So anyway, put it up. Next thing, everybody's saying that, oh, I'm a demon worshipper. It's a, it's a threat. It's a death threat. It
Oh,
was,
that's right. Right. I watched that. I thought it was really funny, actually. I thought it was really clever. And basically, you were just taking the mick. But go on. So you're a demon worshipper and it was a death threat. What else?
oh, loads of stuff, loads of stuff. And this, anyway, this went on and on. I've now made friends with all of the women apart from one. And it's blown over and misunderstanding. I think maybe with that thing, with the doll thing, it's an American English, because Americans don't get dry
I
humor. And
think it's more than that.
oh, really?
Yeah. I think it might be more than that, if I can interrupt, because you've got to remember that a big representative symbol of MK Ultra is a doll, so it probably triggered people.
It probably triggered them. Yeah.
To personify somebody as a doll, even though your intent wasn't malicious, it was benevolent, and you were trying to, fix the situation.
And they were good-looking dolls. I mean, these were.
But dolls are very powerful images anyway. Have you never seen that place in is it Mexico, the island of the dolls? Dolls are a very powerful image, and they can go either way, I think. So they can, like, you were looking at the cutesy Barbie, glamour, all that, and whatever Barbie, all the good things Barbie's
flattering. I thought it was flattering.
Yeah.
They were all, there was bloody dolls. They weren't ugly.
But instead, it backfired spectacularly.
It was Barbie. It was supermodel time.
Yeah, but you couldn't know that they were going to think that. So they might have thought that you were trying to rip the mick out of them by saying that, oh, you're a Barbie doll, but you're not in real life, are you, love? Kind of thing. And nobody's a Barbie doll in real life, I must add, because she's totally unrealistic. So I think that might be why there was that reaction. But I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was really clever. I was sad when he took it down, because I thought, oh, that was good. I like that.
I just felt like, what, what? I couldn't believe it. I was like, threatening. No, I was proud of it. I thought I was going to, I had the plan to do one every week. I thought, like catch up. I even went for a male one to do my.
Call it? House of the Dolls.
I got Truth of Dolls. No, the Truth of Dolls.
Oh, I like it.
And I got a doll for Miles as well. I got a doll for Miles.
What? Really? What? That would be Sideshow Bob then, out of The Simpsons. I didn't know you could get a doll for him.
No, I got one with like white hair, like white curly hair. Yeah, you can get anything in the toy
Maybe
shops.
the Mad Professor out of Back to the Future. You could get a doll of him. That might be nice.
It reminds me of that guy on, that video, the Lost Boys. He reminds me of that one that the woman dated, and he was in charge of the other. He was in charge.
Oh, he was the head vampire. Mhm.
Yeah. Miles reminds me of that somehow. I don't know why. Anyway, sorry. I'll
No, it's all right. I mistracked you, whatever, because I just thought I had to add that because of just dolls and what they represent.
No, okay. No. I agree. Yeah, I agree. And also I do think Americans don't do the dry, and it was dry humor.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like slapstick. They like
our humor. Yeah, they do. That's why Adam Sandler films are so popular. I mean, I like Adam Sandler films, but that's a representation of, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So that that made me persona non grata for quite a long time. I think it was about a year, and I just stayed off social media. I thought, I obviously can't do it. A few women stepped in and said, oh, you can't speak to women, you're no good of women. And I just felt really bitched at, and I was getting flashbacks of my mother. But the good thing came out of all of it. I sort of remembered my mother's beatings of me so intensely that it kind of got it out of me, like kind of pushing out a peach stone out of a peach. So it was good in a way, because it got that out, and I felt better able, like less nervous around women, more able to sort of interact with them without feeling like, without getting that peach stone triggered, so it was kind of good in the end. And I made friends with them, everyone concerned afterwards, apart from Jolene. Well, I did for a while, but then she deleted me off Facebook because she said I was.
Did she take your man?
She took my man? Who's that?
Did she take your man, Jolene?
Oh, that's funny. No,
she just deleted your Facebook instead. Whatever.
Yeah. She said, "Are you too close to Miles?" This is, I hadn't spoken to him for a year, but people tend to say it's kind of risk because I get the double-edged sword. I get the, oh, you're really friends with Miles. You know everything he's up to, every nefarious thing. And then on the other hand, I get Miles, who actually doesn't like me and has never liked me, taking my basis 50 away, saying loads of things like I'm besties with Aquino. So I get the double-edged sword. I don't get any friendship with Miles, and I get accused by everyone of being somehow his leading lady. It's like weird, but there we are, take it on the chin. So what happened yesterday doing the workout, I had this brainwave and I thought, I know, I'll put it on YouTube and make Brian laugh, and that'll clear the air. Because it's like funny, someone chubby going, yeah, here I am, let's sort of, have a rumble on my front yard, if you're going to come round, let's which something he hadn't said anyway. But, I just thought, oh, it would be funny, like Rocky Balboa, but somebody sort of super unfair and chubby. And I did Miss Piggy karate chops. I thought he will laugh and then that will clear the air, which is what I thought again with the Truth of Dolls thing. So I put it on YouTube and then I got people commenting underneath, but there was fair enough comments. Somebody said, oh, and this is another thing I got with the dolls thing, nobody's going to take you seriously. And I thought, what the hell, here I am, I'm just like, might as well be laying in the curb, nobody takes me seriously anyway. I mean, what the hell, I might as well laugh before I die, I mean, it's like, and then so somebody was posting, nobody's going to take you seriously as a journalist again. Well, I am actually never been a journalist, really. I'm a private investigator. I was on my way to doing that when Greg Miskew struck. So that I was like, what the hell? Then someone else said, oh, you're upsetting Brian. And I'm like, why? It's like a joke. And they were like, well, he's ill. And I said, but, he's saying he's not ill. So how, he'll laugh at this. And then I thought, well, hang on, this is just like, maybe I should take it down. And then somebody sent me a link to really vile pornography.
Yeah, nasty.
Pardon?
I said, yes, nasty. That's nasty.
Yeah, it was actually. Yeah, not even someone good looking. And I got bizarrely triggered, I suppose. I was talking to a friend about it last night and they were like, but you're a grown up. How come you got triggered? But I don't know whatever state I was in. Seeing that, it triggered me. Now, I've often been sent penis pictures by men, so I don't know why.
I'm sorry, that's really childish. I shouldn't laugh. I'm sorry. I don't know why that. But
it's okay, but I don't know why I triggered. But I went to a state. I suppose it's if people believe Monarch, an MK Ultra, to a cold kind of state, like a part that was really like cold, and like I felt like I was being immersed in water, and I felt really bad, and I didn't know what to do.
You felt like this last night?
Yeah. After I got sent the link.
That's happened before when you got that email from Michael Aquino and he said about turning the card over
and revealing the Queen of Hearts. Yeah. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. And Fritz Springmeier advised you to talk to that part of yourself and tell that part of yourself to stand down. You've done a good job until you calm down. The part of you that has gone to ice. So.
Well, I couldn't calm down. I've been up all night. I haven't slept all night, and I feel sick. I do feel I haven't slept all night. I did listen to Brian again. He did another podcast. He mentioned me, was saying, I'm his enemy, hated me. I again, felt afraid. My heart started beating. Then I got a surge of adrenaline. And he said, oh, my trolls are going to come and get you, which made me feel then a bit relieved because I thought, oh, so nobody's coming to beat me up for talking to Daniela. It's trolls. So
he actually said that my trolls are going to come and get you.
No, something like that's it, keep working out. But he said it in a jokey way, to be fair on him. He said, that's it, keep working out because the trolls are going to come. He didn't say mine. The trolls are going to come and get you. But he kind of said it in a jokey way, but then he went on to say how angry he was with me. And I still didn't get why. I'm talking to Daniela. Well, I spoke to Daniela only recently. After I interviewed him for the Red Rooms, me and he spoke. We spoke nearly every bloody day and had a nice friendship, I would add.
After the Red Room interview.
Yeah.
Every day and had a friendship.
Yeah, exactly. So
right.
wasn't somebody that went off. I didn't interview him and then go off. And so he can say, oh, why didn't you then investigate? We spoke every day after that. Well, there was maybe a tiny gap, but then after that, we would like, chat, 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 chat. And I
How
enjoyed
long for? How long did this friendship last for?
maybe about, I don't know, maybe a year, maybe 7 months. I don't know, but I did enjoy
So
it.
a
I did.
substantial amount of time. So it wasn't just like a brief kind of acquaintance type deal. You actually had a friendship where you communicating regularly. That's an important fact.
Yeah, and he talked about it as well. He said, I enjoyed chats with Christine. And he one time left me this really amazing message that I said he should put out there. And he has put it out there. It was really amazing. And he should do more of that. And I thought I was, mentoring him not mentoring, I haven't got anything to offer, but I was going to put him in touch with all these people now that are doing these anti-Murdoch documentaries. There's a load of them. But okay, I might have said something offensive. I said, YouTube is getting boring. You keep repeating stuff. And perhaps that was rude. Anyway, next thing he blocked me over that. He said, how dare you say that to me? Which fair enough. And then he blocked me. But I don't know where and after that, I did speak to Daniela, but it wasn't really to bitch about him. But maybe I thought, oh, I'm free to speak to Daniela now, who's one of his enemies, because she was on my Twitter. You know how it is. But perhaps I shouldn't have done. I mean, I know everyone can see people's Twitters. But if he'd have wanted me after I'd interviewed him to go off and dig around in it, he would have said. He didn't even say. We did mention it after, but he didn't say, oh, I think that you should go and investigate it. Do you know?
Mm.
Um, I think he should have gone to the cops about it, but I thought he wasn't sure about his memory, but now Daniela has come forward and saying she has exactly the same memory. Well, they both have to go together to the police station and report it. I mean, that has to be done, 100%.
Well,
And
yeah, especially since the ZIXA and things like that have been going on, the independent investigation into the child sexual abuse, which is a
yeah,
government initiative.
yeah.
So,
It has to be logged. It has to be logged. Two people saying the same story. That's, they can even arrest that nightclub owner on the basis of that. It's very strong. So. And I think Daniela might know who was involved because she said something about I can't grasp them up, right? So anyway, that has gone on. I can't help in any way with that. I sent Daniela a comment, said something to her. She said something about Herbalife. I said, I'd like to do that. And then haven't heard from her since then. And spoke to her again in direct message. Again, she's not replying. So I can't help there, It's like what the hands
sounds like she's
tied.
scared, and plus it sounds like her management of clamped down on who she communicates with.
Yeah, but I mean, if someone doesn't like you, they don't like you. It's fair enough. Like, with the truthful women, if they didn't like me, I'm not Miss Popular. People tend to not like me. I don't know why. I try and be nice, but people end up not liking me at the end of the day. Can't help it really. So he doesn't like me. Not much I can do. Anyway, I was triggered. I was triggered like the argument with the Truthful girls. And I thought, why is it? And I was trying to work it out. I was trying frantically. And while all the time feeling this like cold ice, but I couldn't get out. So I sent an email to somebody. And then when I'd finished typing and telling them everything, I cried and I felt somewhat in a more sort of zone. But I felt like really, really felt I was angry, I felt loads and loads of anger come up. So I put on that Peter Gundry, which actually I heard Darren G playing for some reason because I watch his videos since he came on the show. He was playing some Peter Gundry. It reminded me of Peter Gundry because I like Peter Gundry. So I put on his Goetia album. And of course, it reminded me of Brian. And Brian said the Goetia demons are the Djinn. So I was playing it. And as I was playing it, I started to get these visions come up. And these visions were I was in a room and Darren G was there, Max Spears appeared, James Casbolt appeared, and then a few other people. And I saw Max, and as soon as I saw Max, I burst into tears. And he said, why are you crying? He said, I'm here, aren't I? And I said, but you're dead. You're not in the physical. He said, I'm still here. I am still here. I just haven't got a body. And it made me kind of feel better. And he started shaking Casbah away. And he said, time to wake up, time to rise up. And I said to Darren G, oh, you've woken up then. And he said, oh, I know, I'm a super soldier. And I said, well, I woke you up. And I think he nodded at that point. And then we went off to another place, and then we all stood on these pedestals, and we were standing on them, and all of us were like spinning for some reason. And I said to somebody who didn't have the knowledge of what to do, I said, you have to climb up on one of these and spin. And he said, spin in what way? I said, just get on and then you spin. And the spinning was just kind of spinning yourself around and like whirring around really, 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 really fast. And then Max shape-shifted into a spider.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I want to find out what's going on with this Brian Harvey thing. Why am I so upset? Anyway, I went to another room. He was in there, and he was dressed in black fur, and he was like quite senior. And I realized then that he too was a super soldier, and he was on some kind of really kind of higher level because he'd been a celebrity. And I said to him, what's all this? You know what's going on? I haven't done anything against you. And he said, what did he say? He said, oh, you're not human. And I said, no, I know. I said, can you guess what we are? And I went and put my hand out to Casbah and Spears. And he said, no, I have no idea. And he said, you people are like witches. And I said, no, think again. And he said, oh, that thing you talk about on your channel. I said, yeah, Djinn. He said, he went, I said, yeah, Djinn, like that, pronouncing the D. And then all of us began to like shapeshift. Max, Casbah, I shapeshift. And then I kind of came back to my body and I said, there's no hard feelings between us. I've never done anything against you. He was quite powerful, but in the astral. And he said, oh, that's okay. And I said, I don't know why I'm so upset. Can you tell me? And he said, it's because we were friends and you can't handle rejection. And I kind of realized that had been my trigger, that was what spun me into that kind of cold kind of state, was rejection that it had with the truth of women, that, you know, I thought they were my friends and they rejected me. Like I thought of him, they rejected me. And it kind of turned me and spun me in a way that kind of opened up something like a Chinese box. And I had that kind of meeting with those other people in the astral that are super soldiers, which is interesting. But I've had it before. I've had a lot of, you know, interaction with Casbah on the astral, but never a point where there's a few of us meeting up. And never the shape-shifting thing, never the spider thing, never this spinning thing. I mean, has that got to do with spiders? And never announcing myself as being Djinn. That seems like really creepy. And yet it matches with Sarah being like some kind of Djinn master. I mean, because what she's doing is amazing, really is amazing. If someone told me, I wouldn't believe them, but because I've experienced it, I mean, it was pretty high magic. It was amazing, actually, I have to say. So it was interesting. So Brian is quite a powerful, important person on the astral, and he's also a super soldier. And then I remembered actually that I said to him, do you think you might be a monarch? Because people say Britney Spears is, and a lot of celebrities are. And actually he was one. He was. Whether he's involved with Djinn, who knows? I don't know. I just had that interaction with him. But I don't know. I just found the whole thing interesting. I wonder what your take would be on the whole thing.
First of all, I want to establish what state you're in. So you say you're awake.
It was an astral dream. Okay, so if people don't understand that, you close your eyes and your consciousness goes off into the astral. It's called journeying.
Right, you went journeying. Okay, right. I wasn't quite sure because you were feeling upset that you sort of closed your eyes to sort of calm down, and then you had like
no, it wasn't a
something
dream.
came to you. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
It wasn't a dream, you know, it was, but you say that, don't you? Some people listening might not understand.
What journeying
Astral.
is? Yeah.
Yeah. The astral, they might not understand that. Hopefully the people that are listening are the people that understand. But it was odd because what triggered me to get access to that part of me that met up with the others. I mean, I've had, like, for instance, that guy Alex, he came and pulled me out my body at a certain time. I have met up with other, like Alex, for example, but I've never sort of gone and had a meeting with them, you know? And it was like almost like that program Tomorrow People. It was almost like that, where we went and met up in a room, and it was quite, it was all clear, you know, as clear as a bell. But I don't normally have access to that part of me. But it just came out, and it was weird. It was like the sort of sort of thing with Brian triggered it. And then I remembered that those other women, there's probably one of them that's a monarch, you know, that I argued with. And so with you know, that triggered to sort of get to something that was like drenched in pain. Do you know what I mean? Whereas with him, I think sometimes in the truther community, monarchs argue with other monarchs. And if a monarch's arguing with another monarch, you've got two super soldiers arguing. Now, if you've got two super soldiers arguing, they're arguing on a whole different level than normal people arguing. They know the other person's triggers, and they can affect them in ways that other people can't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Um. So there was Max who spoke to you,
Yeah.
James who was asleep, but Max woke him up. Did James say anything?
I think called him a slob or something. I said something. I said, "Oh, you're keeping pretty quiet, you slob," something like that. But that was the only interaction. I mean, that part of me is really quite strong,
Did he say
dominant.
anything?
Pardon?
Did James say anything? James Casbolt.
No. He didn't say anything. He seemed a bit dopey. He didn't seem. I think Max was quite on the ball, but Caspot wasn't.
Mhm.
Darren G was again quite on the ball.
Did
And there
Darren
was.
G seem like he knew where he was and what was going on?
Yeah. I mean, often I've met people like that involved in the tree, and they're sort of half asleep. Yeah, he was very awake.
Mm, interesting. So, when you look at it, so anybody that's been in entertainment industry, in some form, I think there's always a chance that they've been exposed to being programmed. So that would, and Max came from a family that had a history with acting. So,
Mm.
and plus he had a connection to Orlando Bloom, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, Darren has been through prison in the care system, and I think that makes certain people a target for definite. And like I've said in previous shows, him and his family were targeted a long time
Yeah.
ago.
They have
Um,
the super soldiers have a certain charisma. He's got
yeah,
that in spades. I mean, you know.
yeah, I think I know what you mean. Yeah, because this has been quite a thing, hasn't it, recently, with different people interviewing criminals and gangsters and them saying their life story. But there's something different about Darren G, something very different, and it's not just his desire to sort of like bring social good, choose a life, not choose a life, not a life type thing. There's something different about him. You can pick it up.
It's a
It's
power, yeah. Power. It's a
yeah,
power. And he
yeah.
was very kind of cocky. He said something to me. I interpreted it as a little bit cocky, and I said to him, "Remember, I woke you up." And then he didn't say anything. But he was more gung ho than Casbolt and Max actually.
Yeah, Scouser, isn't he? He's got to put on that front.
Yeah.
So
But
it's in, yeah,
sorry,
go on.
carry on.
No, I was just gonna say, so Brian being like, so maybe the higher you are in celebrity in this world, the more powerful you are in the astral. Do you get what I mean?
Yes, I
Um,
do. I think he's been used for something for sure. I mean, all this that's going on. I mean, what? I mean, maybe, it'll pop open something. I don't know. But
I
yeah,
think he's being
he's
used.
certainly an important person. I mean, he might have fallen here in the physical, but he's certainly massively important there. I mean, literally was like meeting a bloody king there.
That's
And
really interesting.
yeah. And I had that interaction with him. What I found interesting was the Jinn connection. What I found interesting was the spinning where all those like Casbolt, Max, Darren G got on these podiums, started spinning. I didn't really know what that might even be. And then
That's part of Sufism.
is it
Yeah, whirling dervishes.
right?
Yeah, it's a religious practice to get to an altered state. Have you
Oh,
not? Yeah,
no,
that's
no,
what
that's
whirling dervishes are. But
right.
yeah, it's a Sufi practice, which is a branch of Islam, isn't it? All right.
Yeah.
Which would fit in with a bit with the Jinn connection, wouldn't it?
I say that I was we were all jinns. I said that all of us were jinn. I mean, what the hell is that? That's kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is.
But when I first got told that I was a super soldier by Anna, who told me to keep down, keep quiet about it, which I fucking understand now. But she said that the one of the altars gets bound up with a demon, so bound up with a jinn, perhaps.
Yeah, there might be that aspect. I mean, this is um,
I tell you who would know about this.
who?
Mars Johnson. Mars Johnson. If I rang him and told him this, he would say, yeah, that's because of that, and this is because of that, and that's because of that. I mean, he really does know his stuff. Unfortunately, I'm not speaking to him, but he does know his stuff about that. When I was telling him things that I had done, like going to the Real IRA court case, when those boys were getting put down, Michael McKevitt, and he said, oh, that was to pass a message. And he really kind of, because I like wondered what the hell I was doing there. And so he has a sort of a knowing because he's interviewed so many super soldiers, I suppose.
Well, there's meant to be more to mouth than meat to the eye, isn't there? For a
Yeah,
start off.
he's a weird one. I mean, he had an involvement with Max Spears and had involvement with Casbolt to his detriment. And now, of course, we haven't got access. I haven't got access to Casbolt. That would be great, wouldn't it? Because we could all get together and talk about this. I mean, it's important. It's important. I know, like, there's Louise Clark. She knows about. I mean, I could bring her and ask her. She knows about stuff like that, about attachments. But Ross Dizdar has done a lot of it. And if you've been through a super soldier program, you need to go and get deliverance. And I think Fritz Springmeier says that as well, that you need to become a Christian, and then you need to let the blood of Christ go between the altars, and then that binds them back into one again. So I certainly don't want to be in a state where I'm sort of got something in me that's like related to the gin in any way. I mean, no thank you. I know Sarah seems to like, if it is the gin, make the most of it and make it work for her, but after being lectured by Brian about how if you work with the jinn doing magic with them, you get sucked into their world after death. I don't, it's put me off a little bit.
Well, to be a super soldier in the truest sense of the word, you would have to have some kind of intervention from a supernatural force in some form. I think in the past I've heard people say that all super soldiers have demonic attachments and that's why they can do what they do. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but it would kind of fit in with what you're saying. That,
Yeah.
but
What do you?
I don't believe that you're all Jinn. No, I don't think that's. I
Maybe
don't
it's
believe
just
that.
something I said as sarcasm or something like that. Like
Doesn't feel
sarcasm.
right. It just doesn't. It doesn't feel right. Um, there's something supernatural going on. I mean, I don't necessarily believe it's demonic. Um, but I mean, we have to remember the powers that be. weaponized all this decades and decades ago. I mean, what was it? I heard about this MI18, the occult division of all the military intelligence groups. So what have they been doing all this time? So we know these things exist and we know these things happen. And on a day-to-day mundane level, it's used on us to trick us into believing that the government are doing good for us or whatever, the usual stuff that people talk about generally. But yeah, MK Ultras and super soldiers in the truth movement, that's what we're dealing with really. But the entertainment, I mean, it's people who research this and people who write about these things, entertainment industry, sports, celebrities, anybody like that, they're always targets for MK Ultra, and they're used. I mean, one of the most famous ones is like Marilyn, isn't it? She's meant to be MK. All people like that are meant to be MK'd. And you think about how powerful Marilyn Monroe's been, but she's still a powerful figure, isn't she?
Mm.
So where does she get that power from? Because at the end of the day, she's a beautiful woman. You know, she's got the charisma and all that, but there's something beyond that. When people have that much influence and it's just like timeless, there's something else going on there. I can guarantee it. What?
Yes, they do have a massive charisma. Casbolt had that charisma. Darren G has that charisma. And Max, of course, had it.
This, James has still got it. It's still a cult of James Casbolt, just like there's the cult of Max Spears. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, but it seems to be women that are very drawn in by it. So maybe that's what it's designed to do, that to harness feminine power. I mean, I think myself, I'm beginning to suspect that Brian Harvey's being used, and he's being
Well,
used to either as a disruptor, or because you've got to remember the dawning awareness of how bad this situation is with child abuse and how long it's been going on is only just seeping down into the level of public awareness, as demonstrated when people are on demonstrations now about lockdown. They're saying save the children. Well, they're meaning save the children from paedophiles. But awareness about how high up this goes, because respect for the institutions that we've grown up with is breaking down. It's just about being demolished now, and it's coming out now about the truth about how people operate and how people are controlled using child abuse. So that being the case, I'm beginning to suspect that Brian is being used, and he's being used either to disrupt things as a bit of a disruptor, or either to harness that public anger, to give like a bit of a channel for that public anger.
Well, I think that you hit the nail on the head when you said to me last night about he's there to scare other celebrities
Yes,
into thinking, oh, when you see him, look how you'll end up if you speak out.
yes, and
That
that's
seems
the
like
other
it's
thing.
true. If you look at his subs aren't enough because he's got his YouTube taken down, blah blah blah. They're not enough for it to be a distraction. But what it is enough to be, celebrities looking at him, and I'm sure they do, but they don't subscribe, but they look.
Oh yeah, they will. Yeah,
And especially with the argument with Daniela again, she's famous, he's famous, and so yeah, oh, this is how you could end up if you speak out, probably.
standing outside Downing Street shouting and appearing to act like a madman. So it's humiliation. So you will be put into poverty. You'll be richly humiliated over and over again. People will laugh at you and mock you.
Called
Um,
called a junkie when he's not a junkie, and called mad when he's not mad.
and
All of
and
that.
and in the papers headlines that he's guilty when he's not guilty. So
Yeah.
that's satanic reversal, isn't it? They're doing
Yes.
a satanic reversal on him. So that gives you a clue. Yeah, definitely. I think he's definitely being held up as a warning, because you think about all the pop stars we've grown up with, all the stuff that's come out about the pop stars I grew up with as a teenager in the 70s, I mean, it's just ridiculous. So you think about the 80s, the 90s, and the celebrities and the people that have come through the system, Max Clifford, you know, all people like that. He's been banged up for being a pedo.
Yeah.
What do they know? They all must know something at those parties in those big houses. And of course, it leaks into the film industry, doesn't it?
Mm.
And so the film industry is massively powerful. I mean,
That stuff about phone hacking, that's not come out. What about the stuff with John Boyle? What about the stuff with MI6? That hasn't come out. None of that's come out. That trial was bullshit. I mean,
well,
nothing's come out.
it won't come out. Nothing ever really does come out that's the absolute truth, does it? When you think about
Mm,
it, the real truth about stuff never comes out. It's either a PR job or they're trying to. It depends who you are in society. Right, so for example, just really quick, take the Hillsborough disaster. Lots of people died in a football ground. They got crushed. There was like a rush.
mm,
But the vast majority of those people, for the listeners, were working class men, and a lot of them were from Liverpool. And basically, it was this went. The inquiry has gone on for about 30 years or something like that. It only concluded last year. The police were at fault. It was bad policing, but because it was a lower class group of people who were less powerful and didn't have much of a voice, the police being the police and the powers that be, and because so many people got killed, big problem. So they turn it round onto them. So what they did is they used things like the Sun newspaper to say that some of the football fans were urinating on the bodies of other football fans, which is a blatant lie. And it's
mm.
caused that much hatred and upset in Liverpool that the Sun is not sold in Liverpool. That newspaper does not get sold in Liverpool. That's how much the people have turned
Well,
against it. So,
that, that newspaper is evil. And the News of the World didn't close. It's just the Sun on Sunday. And
yeah,
Murdoch will die for sure.
yeah. So what I'm saying is horrible things happen, depending on who you are and how much power and money you've got. Will they try and shut you up? Will they try and twist it? Will they try and do a PR job? Uh, but the truth rarely comes out because the people who've got the power can keep things secret. And that's
Mhm.
why the truth's not come out about phone hacking and the things that you know. Nick Davis, he's been used, hasn't he?
Oh,
He's
he's a son of a bitch.
He's a sock puppet.
What?
He's a sock puppet, basically.
Yeah, yeah, someone was going on about that troll I had for years. He was, oh, you've never met Nick Davis. I knew Nick Davis really well. We met up regularly. We would have 1 o'clock in the morning chats while I was sitting on the loo. I mean, we were friends, but as soon as his book came out, didn't see nor, if I was to say something to him or when I email him, and say, I'm unhappy about your book and about you didn't write about John, he'll spend the time, but I feel pretty sort of cucked by him, really.
Yeah, yeah, because he's had this image. He's Mr. Campaigner. He's Mr.
Mr.
Social
Good Guy,
Justice.
Mr. Angel, like an angel. He looks a little bit like an angel. He's got these big eyes that
I've
are
met
like,
him. I've met
oh,
him. Yeah, very briefly, but I've met him. I know what he looks like. Yeah,
he does seem like sort of Mr. And he's got a really soft voice. And he was like really nice to me and, sort of overlooking my life and like, oh, does Christine need a man? And, all this like soft voice. And, he sorted it for me to get the story on the, my story that I wanted about the Hillside Strangler in the magazine. Didn't work out, but he certainly tried hard and he certainly got me out to America to interview it. Um,
mm,
which is good. But what? I helped him a lot. I didn't really get any thanks for it.
mm. I
But
think
what were you saying about that weaponizing? Do you mean like weaponizing the astral?
the whole of the occult's been weaponized. It has been for, well, hundreds of years, if not decades. I mean, this goes right way back to John Dee, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Right, Elizabeth the First magician. Magic is used by people in positions of power, but it's also used by positions of people with no power. So the two people at the opposite poles both use magic. One, because they haven't got any option because they virtually have nothing. Like say, like slaves in when slavery was going in America, they have their magic, they have voodoo. And then at the other end of the scale, you've got royalty. Well, royalty have their own, and always have had their own witches and magicians. I mean, our royal family's last witch died in the 60s. They had a witch. So they've always got people who know how to use these forces and these energies. You have to.
What about this binding to the Djinn? I mean, I did hear it before about when they do MK Ultra, they bind an altar to something to give psychic powers. And
Yeah, but I don't know if it's the Djinn, really.
but what would it be? Because Djinn is just demons. I mean, it's just the same, isn't it? Djinn is a word. It just means hidden, doesn't it? It just what I think is like the Islam people, the Muslims, they know more about these entities. I think that we call them demons and we don't know shit about them, apart from like The Exorcist and stuff like that, which is just, it's crap, really. Whereas in Islam, they know an awful lot about them. I think we call them the Fae as well,
I don't know. I think this is propaganda, to be quite honest, because I think the natural state of humans is to be very psychic and to be very much in tune with nature. And I think this is our natural state. But and some people have got it stronger than others. Some people have definitely got because in certain, I mean, that the Irish are meant to be very psychic, aren't they? They have that thing running through them. So some people are more psychic than others, for whatever reason. That's the whole of the story. I think we're naturally like this, but with some people, it's more enhanced naturally. Some people need to have it enhanced, like the super soldiers. Now, whoever's created the super soldiers isn't coming from a very good place, so therefore they would have access to things that would be able to enable the super soldiers to do the tasks that they're meant to do. So if you're outside of time and space, that gives you like a demon is, and that's why some people want to engage with demons because of the knowledge, which some people do, and some people get them to come and help them if there's a big magical ritual people need to do. They get demons to assist them.
Do you mean that the controllers of the Monarch program that they utilize demons to access the super soldiers to tell them what to do at certain times?
No, I think they get them to enhance them to give them abilities that they might not have necessarily. Because
I did all the work that I did for the News of the World was using psychic stuff. They forgot that very quickly, and then when I brought John Boyle in, it was all like, oh, we want to do that. We want to do, we want to be somebody that sees. I was doing all my work psychically, and then now saying that, of course, you get hacked off then, trolling me. Oh, yeah, sure, you're psychic, aren't you? But it was, I mean. It was. I'm not trying to
what
get
they think.
Pardon?
Who cares what they think?
Yeah, I know, who cares? I'm at the moment trying to get myself to a point where I understand what's gone in my life to write it down in a book before I die. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to do anything else. And people say stuff like, "Oh, you won't be respected as a journalist." That's long gone. My career in any way is long gone. All I've got left now is book writing, and I want to get this down in a book and get it out, not to make money, just to get it documented, because it's really weird and not many people know about it. Tell you who knows about this kind of stuff as well, really well, Douglas Dietrich.
Yeah.
He knows a lot. And you know what? I was talking to him, and I remember when I was talking to him thinking, this is amazing. He knows so much, and he's telling me so much about my life, shedding light on like different things. And then of course there's the argument. There's always these arguments that you have, and I think it's people around, certain people, like people around Douglas Dietrich, who will say, "Oh, Christine, this critic, she did that, bloody bloody," and next thing they're hating on you. Like, people that you're supposed to be friends with, and next thing you've fallen out with them. Like Terry Joyce.
It seems to be
My
very
son, yeah, my son
unstable,
said,
doesn't it?
yeah, my son said, "Oh, you and her, you're really alike, and you're both like comedy people. You like to do skits." And okay, she's done it professionally, but he said you two should be friends, not arguing. But you kind of see that, you think, yeah, that's right, and looking at Douglas Dietrich should be friends with him, but there's this sort of like hate thing, the Brian thing, should be friends again. There's the hate thing now, and you can't help but think it's people around them that sort of plant ideas. Oh, that person there didn't mean good about you, and and then because I think maybe certain forces don't want you to be friends with this person and that person and that person, because then lots of light bulb moments will be had by everybody.
Yeah, they don't want you to team up, because if you team up and you compare notes, you'll rumple them. So it's in their best interest for you to all fall out with each other. So they need you to have disruptions and all this squabbling and all these fights, and it's orchestrated. So because you'll
And
find
take
solidarity with each other and strength.
Exactly. And it takes so much energy. I didn't sleep last night. I probably won't sleep tonight. I'd probably be worried. Then I have to see, oh, who's saying what about me? And not that that even matters, but I know I'll get triggered. So, it's good to get rid of triggers anyway. Sometimes it's good if it's going on. You can kind of get rid of triggers, but it's like takes so much energy, so much time when you should be. I mean, I should be doing that book. I should be getting this, that into that particular book. But now what am I doing? You're just sitting about, not doing anything, actually, not doing anything. And then that just renders all the powerless people even more powerless. I mean, they must just really pee themselves laughing.
Probably. Yeah, probably. Do you feel better for having a chat about it then? Because
I
we're
just
coming up
feel
to
resentful
the
that the
hour.
certain people that, yeah, I agree. I just feel resentful there's certain people that I should be speaking to about this, such as Douglas Dietrich, probably Miles Johnson, and other people, James Casbolt, that I would get, Max, I would get enlightenment around it. And the fact that's been cut off to me, I feel like massive feeling of resentment, actually. I don't know who to, but certainly a massive sense of being cucked, a massive sense of resentment. Because you're right, together we're massively strong. We're the powerful ones. We're the ones that they had to hijack and splice for our power. We sort of got together. Would just be like amazingly powerful, wouldn't it?
Well, it's the living embodiment of united we stand, divided we fall, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and we can meet up on the Astral. I mean, like last night, that was it. That has to be done as well. That has to be. I mean, that guy called out, the Alex guy who came to me, he said, right, he said 12 o'clock at night, let's go out on a mission. And I thought, oh, come on, you're not going to do it. I can't do it. You're not going to do it. I just find myself out. I don't do it deliberately, mostly. And he did. He came and got me. He was like, oh, you haven't got out yet. And I felt almost like I was drinking cough mixture, that red cough mixture that they used to have years ago. And I was drinking that. I kind of choked on it. And then suddenly he yanked me out by my feet and he's going, hey, you okay? And I was like, whoa. And then I went back, the next day, obviously I slept off that, woke up and I said, wow, that was like amazing. And he said, oh, you were difficult to pull out. And, if he can do that, and I did it okay with his help, then why aren't we all doing it? Why aren't we all saying, right, let's meet up on the Astral. Let's do that. We're all being controlled here in the physical. Let's do it there. And of course,
Because
there's a lot of honesty there as well. There's no lying because you can hear another person's thoughts.
well, because that knowledge has to be kept from us, because we're in a control grid, aren't we?
Yeah, we
Human beings, humanity is kept in a control grid that's going ever more controlling at the moment.
it's going ever more controlling. It's only going to get worse. The only way that we can have strength is realizing about these higher levels of consciousness and meeting up there and, organizing ourselves there. Because they've got us, they can listen into our phone calls, they can follow us. There's, cameras everywhere. It's just a joke. And there's people infiltrated everywhere. That person that put that pornography that time, under that thing. I mean, they knew that'd trigger me. I mean, what other adult in the universe is triggered so badly by pornography? I mean, it wasn't even a dick pic, it was a woman. I mean, what the hell? I mean, you know
Well,
I was triggered by it because, you know, I don't like, you know, that type of that
very,
type.
very low mentality.
But you know, it's like, yeah, so that individual was either hosting demons or knew, had awareness, you know. I mean, that annoys me that, you know, that kind of consciousness is out there having the last laugh because we're so busy believing that the 3D is all there is. And we're not. We're too busy calling out each other mad. Oh, you're mad if you think that. That's not real. It's just, you know, and then it makes people shut up about things. It makes people not come out about things. And the truth movement is just kind of a bit of a joke at the moment. There's, you know, all this kind of false accusations of, you know, stuff. Even Douglas Dietrich saying, "Oh, you're in with Aquino," and you know that
Well,
kind of.
that's good coming from him. I mean, he worked
I
with
know.
the guy, didn't he, for God knows how long. So, people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones.
I know.
Okay,
Why doesn't he contact me on Skype? I'm putting that out there. Why doesn't he contact me? Why don't we do a radio show? Why doesn't he have me as a guest? You know,
yeah,
what harm can it do? I'm going to say something mean to him on air. I'm not going to. I think we should talk. I think we should talk about all this, about all I've said, and I think he should offer his wisdom. He's got a lot of wisdom about this. And after
don't
all,
you?
Aquino's dead, so we can't all go and ask him to share his knowledge about all this mind wars and psychotronic whatever.
Mm,
Anyway, sorry. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for
you're
running the show. And
very welcome. I think maybe we should do part 2 to this. I think there's a lot more to be said, really, isn't there? Be interesting to see what the listeners think as well,
yeah,
about the subjects that we've talked about. Um, yeah, personally, I don't know. I think the Djinn have their place, but I don't think they're that much in the West. Maybe they've infiltrated, like I was saying.
I
I
don't
don't know.
know. I know who would know. I know Douglas Dietrich would know. So the
Yeah.
gauntlet goes out. The come on my show. And
Well,
yeah,
maybe we should do like a short thing asking him, and then send it to him. You know,
well, this will get,
asking
you
him
know,
if he'll talk to you about all the above and more, possibly. Okay, then. Thanks very much, Christine. It's been very interesting. Hope you have a more peaceful and chill day than you had tonight. And
thanks.
we'll be with you, audience, again very soon. Bye.
Thank you.